Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new here. I'm Paula, my channel's PJ Danita Trends. And today, I'm looking down because I got the book right here. So we are going to be talking about the book Verity. If you haven't picked it up, this is how it looks. It's Verity and it's by COLLEEN HOOVER. Now, let's just jump right into it, y'all. It's a New York Times bestseller. That's what this language says here at the top. It says, New York Times phenomenon that everyone's talking about. I can see why people are talking about it. So let's just get into it. First of all, the title of the book. I'm going to be honest. When I saw this title, I almost passed it by because love the author, but I couldn't figure out the title. I was like, Verity, am I even saying it correctly? What does that mean? I couldn't really draw from that. But I will say the author wastes no time getting into the relevance of that name. So I won't do a spoiler alert in this at all, just in case you haven't read it. But if you're looking at it and you're a little off-put by the cover or the title, then I would say don't let that deter you. Also, I almost passed it up because I was looking at books and I was looking at the cover and it was just, I don't know how the color's coming on the screen, but it's gold and brown and blue. And there's some figure, like you see some legs, a body, and all this scribble here. And you see the same thing. It's almost like a reflection there. And I was like, what is even going on this cover? So it didn't make any sense to me. It did not stand out to me. It just seemed like there was too much that I was going to have to figure out. So I walked past this one a couple of times, but as I was looking at other books to potentially read, potentially review, this one kept coming up on everybody's list as a must read. It had high ratings, and I was in the library one day and I thought, you know what, it's here, let me just grab it, it's on the shelf. So I picked it up. So a couple of notes here that I have, I'm going to talk a little bit about. The opening. So from the moment you begin reading this story, it's got a hook right at the very beginning. So as soon as the story starts to unfold, there is a gotcha, clutch your pearls kind of a moment where you're like, oh my goodness, and so you're kind of sucked in. So there is an accident that takes place, I'll say that, and the details of the accident just slowly start to unfold, and it sucks you into that scene. So that from the beginning of the story, I was like, okay, I'll bite, I'll keep reading. And so I would be like, okay, I'm gonna give this 10 more pages. I'm gonna give this 10 more pages. Because one thing that I'll say, I'll just show you, for example, I've got a few other books here that I'm reading. And so what I will usually do is I'll start reading a book, and if it doesn't suck me in, I can just pivot and move on to something else. I do have a goal. My mother-in-law used to read 100 pages a day. So her goal was to read 100 pages a day and to read a newspaper from cover to cover. So I was like, okay, well, let me just read 10 pages. And then if I'm interested, I'll read 10 more pages. And so when I got through the first 10 pages, I was thinking, okay, I like this, so I'll keep going. So anyway, there's an accident at the beginning. I'll just say that. And things just quickly start to unfold from there. So that is the suck you in. The characters then start to develop. So I will say this. Accident, it takes place in Manhattan, New York. The genre is psychological thriller. And one of the quotes from this book that kept me reading was, the main character said, I moved to this city to be invisible. And she talked about New York. She talked about how a lot of people go to New York to be discovered, and then a lot of people go to be invisible because there's millions of people there. You can get lost in the sauce and nobody will even care who you are while you're there. And that was her reason for going there. So she wanted to just bury herself into New York. And I thought, okay, well, what's going on in your life to where you just want to be absorbed by New York and be invisible? So as the story continues to unfold, she talks more and more about her life and her past. So that also makes sense to me. I will say the main character, a few little nuggets I'll sprinkle here and there. Her mother is mentioned throughout the story. She doesn't have the best relationship with her mother. And this is not a spoiler at all, but her mother ended up moving in with her. Her mother had colon cancer, and her mother she knew she was gonna pass away. So she wanted to pass away with dignity. She wanted to have her own room. And so the main character, she doesn't have a lot of money. Of course, this is New York. So she gets a 2-bedroom apartment. So she has a room, and her mom wants her own room. She didn't want to be in a nursing home, didn't want to be in a hospital. She promised her that she had this pile of money that she'd be able to have access to after she passed away, and it would take care of her expenses, and she would not be in the hole. Well, right before her mom passed away, she shared with her that that was not factual. She did not have any money, and she was going to be in the hole. So anyway, that's just to give you a little bit of information about the main character and her mom. Also, one caveat that she mentioned was, of course, her mom was dying of cancer, and she was obviously on hospice, so she had morphine to help with the pain. So I'll just leave that there. I'll just give you that little tidbit there. Another character that I will briefly talk about is Jeremy. So Jeremy is a character who experiences the accident with her, and as a result, the accident in the beginning of the story, and literally gives her the shirt off of his back. And as the story continues, the main character begins to unfold, obviously, but Jeremy begins to unfold also. And so they meet at the beginning of the story, and then they run into each other later in the story, and it builds from there. But it is, do y'all want to know why it's called Verity? Okay. I won't tell you. I won't tell you, because that might be a bit of a spoiler. But Verity, I will say this, is a person's name, and that's the significance. So you definitely want to check this one out. So that's all I'll say about that without giving too much away. So accident, not the best relationship with her mother. She meets Jeremy. They experience the accident together. Things unfold from there, and he literally gives her the shirt off his back. So I'll say that. And Verity is a person. A person. One other thing that I'll mention to you is my rating for the book. I would say I would give it 4.5 stars out of 5 stars. It's a really good read. It's an easy read. The author did have me looking up some words. There were some words where, and I kind of like that, because reading for me, it builds your vocabulary. For example, one of the words was chartreuse. And I was thinking, what does chartreuse mean? I could kind of tell from context clues. So that was a word I ended up looking up. She also mentioned, I think the word was agoraphobia. So I'll put both of those in the definitions up here so that you can see it. But anyway, it builds your vocabulary. So if you don't know what those words mean, you do. Every now and then as you're going through the story, she'll throw in some words that you may have heard before, but you need to look it up. And I do like that. But like I said, 4.5 stars I would give it. Psychological thriller. So you have some twists and turns to look forward to. And I would certainly recommend this book. Great author, of course, but good book. So if you're thinking about this one, I would say pick it up. Let me know if you've read Verity. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you think this cover means. And what you would rate the story. So I look forward to your comments. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. And I will, of course, talk to you in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.